Well, hello everyone. Welcome to my week 1 video musings, part 1. And in this part 1, I'll be reviewing the good old syllabus with you. So if you want to follow along with me, that's actually a really good idea. Go into our Brightspace course page, which you already are, obviously, or you wouldn't be able to watch me on this video. And go to content up at the very top of the page. And once you click on content, you'll see table of contents on the left-hand sidebar there, and right underneath that, you'll see a tab that says course syllabus. So click on that tab, and we will hit the high points here and let you know what this class is all about. So this is English 2120 Modern American Lit, and I know you're thinking, syllabus, boring, right? But we do need to clarify certain concepts of the course, what will be expected of you in the course, what you may expect from the class, etc. So it's a good thing to review some of these ideas. I am Professor Patty Ireland, so think leprechauns and shamrocks, and I have the red hair to match, so it's easy to remember my name. Most students call me Professor I. That's a tradition that began many years ago, and it's been going on since day one at the Straw Plains campus, so I'm very comfortable with that. You see my email address there, paireland@pstcc.edu. That's the best, quickest way to reach me. I do not have office hours this time around because we're online. However, if you want to communicate with me privately in a conference, let me know. We can do that through Microsoft Teams, which is available to each of you through Pelicippi. Also, we can obviously email. So as you probably know, this class is asynchronous, and that means all of the class assignments, the activities, the information is conveyed to you via our Brightspace course page, also called D2L. So the class does not meet virtually ever in real time. That does not happen, but rather you take part in all the weekly activities, the discussion boards, you submit your assignments through the course page. To tell you just a little bit about me quickly, I am from a little town called East Ridge, and some of you know that because I've had some of you before in other classes. Welcome back, and many of you are new to me. Welcome. I like to lovingly refer to East Ridge as the armpit of the redneck world. There's not a whole lot there. There are lots of churches. There's the Purdy Do hair salon. I do not recommend going there. There is a place called the Party Mart on the main drag there, and you can get your copy of the National Enquirer, your beer, and pretty much anything that your heart would desire at the Party Mart. It's got a sign out front that says, "Stop where pleasure starts, Party Mart." So you know you're in East Ridge when you see that sign. I'm told we have a museum now. I can't imagine what's in it because we never did anything, but that should be interesting. Anyway, I'll tell you some stories about my little hometown along the way, and normally in an in-class situation, on the first day of class, right before I call the roll, I tell some silly stories about names. And one of the stories that I relate involves a young lady that I went to East Ridge Junior High with, and her last name was O'Rear. So if you think your name is bad, it could be worse. O''REAR, and her parents in their great wisdom named her Fanny. Fanny O'Rear, what a name. So you can imagine how this poor kid was just taunted all the way through school. And not only did she have this odd name, but she was kind of a weird character. She dressed all in black, and this was long before we ever heard of goths, right? And she drew pictures of coffins during class all the time. She wanted to embalm people later on when she graduated. This was her dream in life. I heard a while back that she did not achieve that goal. However, she is doing hair and makeup for the deceased in a local funeral home in East Ridge. So if any of us were to croak in East Ridge, Fanny might do our hair and makeup, and I'm sure we would look pretty snazzy there. Anyway, yeah, I'll tell you some stories. Fanny and I were the last two people to be chosen on anyone's team in gym class. And with Fanny, she had big, huge bifocal glasses. She just could not see the ball coming at her. It could knock her lights out. She never even saw it coming. She couldn't see to pitch or throw or catch or anything. And she was weird. I was weird. Not as weird as Fanny, but I was weird. But I had 20/20 vision. I was just a klutz, right? And I remain a klutz. Horrible at sports. So I'll tell you some stories about all that along the way to sort of make it a little bit more fun. I want to welcome you, though, to this class. It's a study of American literature from the end of the Civil War, so 1865, up to this time. So that's a huge stretch of time. Obviously, we can only hit the high points, so it's more like a survey course. But it will help you to recognize and appreciate the different interpretations of American experiences across this wide spectrum of time. It will allow you to more fully grasp the techniques of imaginative writing that creative writers use, the critical approaches to literature that help us understand its meaning and its nature. And it will fortify all of those skills that you learned in 1010 and 1020. So my hope for you is that this won't just be an experience that will benefit you as a college student, benefit you intellectually and academically, but that you'll actually enjoy this experience that we're going to share together, and that this class will provide you with experiences that you'll remember many years later, because we're going to be talking about some important ideas, the big ideas of life and death, right? So some serious ideas that these writers are grappling with. And what's interesting is that American literature mirrors, obviously, what is happening in American history at each point along the way. But American literature is also sort of the catalyst for history sometimes, as you'll see going along. So the general info and the grading scale, we're coming to that part now. So we do have our reader, the Norton Anthology to American Literature, as they would say in New York. And you see it there. You should be able to get a used version. The readings we'll be doing the first couple of weeks of class. I have put, I think, all of those online, and also they're accessible to you by just doing a simple Google search for a full text version of these short stories. I do that purposefully to give you time to get the book. And then if you still have a copy of the Little Seagull Handbook or the Little Brown Essential Handbook from your comp classes, that will also be most helpful to you when we write our research paper. The prereq for this class is English 1020. So if you did not pass English 1020, then you cannot receive credit for taking this class. So all your work would be in vain. So if you're not sure that you passed it, go back and be sure and look and make sure that you passed English 1020. I'll let you read the course goals, the expected student learning outcomes on your own. And then we get to the grading scale. So you see sort of how that plays out. We have some quizzes, we have a midterm, a final, we have 12 discussion board postings, we have a big research paper that counts for 20% of your final grade, and then we have participation score. And that's based on your attendance and obviously, you know, how well you've done with actually engaging with the class. So note that a normal class, as you know, meets 3 hours a week. And in addition, you complete a lot of work outside of that time. So you have your homework, you have your reading, you have your writing assignments, etc. And this class will be no different in terms of the hours you'll need to put in to succeed. So you can expect to put in from 4 to 6 hours of time every week to succeed in this class. And that includes the time that you're going to be online, engaging in the discussion board postings, and the time that you're going to be doing your assignments and your studying and all of that. Note that your professors can see when you've logged into your Brightspace course, how long you've spent, and exactly which parts of the course you logged into. We can see that, and there's actually a record that is automatically made of that. so that it's very clear who engaged and who did not, just FYI. And note that while I do my very best to turn your major papers like the big research paper around quickly, it can take up to a couple of weeks for me to post those grades due to the fact that I'm teaching 4 different sections this semester, and 3 of them are 1020s, and so there's a lot more writing going on in those comp classes. But I usually do a pretty good job of turning those papers around. You see the disability services statement there, and so if you need accommodations, please send me an email and let me know. Do be aware that I'm not legally able to give you accommodations unless you have a current plan on file with our Office of Disability Services at Hardin Valley. If you need to communicate with me, send that email to PA Ireland. And if you do send it there, send it from your Pellissippi email, because if you send it from a personal email, I might not ever see it. Often those go automatically into our spam folders, and we cannot just go access our spam folders anytime we want due to security measures. And so it's a good idea to send it from your Pellissippi email to know that it's going to reach me. You can also certainly email me through our Brightspace course page. I check those emails every day as well. Note that if your email comes in later in the afternoon or on into the evening, I probably will not see it or respond to it until the following morning, because of the fact that I'm just like everyone else. At the end of the day, after I've put in 8 or 9 hours, and sometimes it's longer than that, I need to refresh and recoup and sit down and have dinner with my husband and my cat, and just get some R&R. Same thing with the weekends. I usually check my emails one time over the weekend, and so depending on when you send it, I may not see it or respond to it until that Monday morning. The papers need to be typed. Obviously, you're uploading them into Brightspace, double spaced. They need to have standard margins, and they should be typed in Times New Roman 12-point font. So according to MLA formatting. And so on page 1, in the upper left-hand corner, your name, my name, the course name, and the date should appear. And on all pages in the upper right-hand corner, your last name and the page number should appear. Note that there's a section on our Brightspace course page that I've set up for you where you can get help with MLA. So if you go to content again, and then you look over in the left-hand sidebar for that MLA help section, there are lots of wonderful resources there. There will be 5 quizzes through the semester. You'll find them in the quizzes section, which is up at the top of our Brightspace page. And they are announced in advance on the syllabus. They count for a total of 25% of your final grade, so they're each worth 5%. Generally, quizzes are not made up unless you have a valid reason for having missed that quiz and you contact me promptly about it. It's up to you to contact me to make up a quiz. So you'd be amazed how many students get to the end of the semester and they're like, what, I lost 25% of my grade because I didn't take quizzes? Well, they were announced, right? They were in the announcements. They were in the weekly checklist. They're on your syllabus. And so it's up to you to stay on top of those things. All the documents for this course, now not all the readings, but the documents that I'll give you to read as well, are online on our D2L course site. And so click on content, and then in the left-hand sidebar you'll see course documents. You'll also see a readings tab where some of the readings can be found. As I mentioned before, there are 12 weekly discussion boards in this class, and these take the place of what we would normally be doing in class. And so it's very important that you complete these, and they count for 10 points each for a total of 120 points, or 12% of your final grade in the class. And there's a grading rubric up on each forum to show you how those postings are graded. So to achieve the full points for every week's board, you first have to answer the questions according to the instructions that are posted within each topic of the board. and then offer one substantive, thoughtful response per week to one posting by a classmate. So you'll see detailed instructions within each topic of the weekly boards to understand which of those topics require the response that week to a classmate. And you'll go to discussions up at the top of the page to get to the boards. Your initial postings for each topic in the board, and some weeks there'll just be one topic, some weeks there might be two. They will be due by 11:59 p.m. every Wednesday night, while the response to a classmate will be due by 11:59 p.m. on a Sunday night. So that's how that will work. Now this first week, I'm making an exception, and you can do your initial postings and your response to the classmate by 11:59 p.m. this coming Sunday, since some folks add the class late. But after this week, the initial postings will always be due on a Wednesday night at 11:59 p.m. The response to a classmate will always be due on the following Sunday night by 11:59 p.m. Note that participation in these boards is absolutely vital to your success in learning the material for the midterms and for the final. You see the financial aid, Hope Scholarship, lottery statement there. So just know that dropping or withdrawing can adversely affect your financial aid and or your lottery eligibility. I'll let you read the non-discrimination, emotional well-being, academic dishonesty, and grade appeal policies, and syllabus statement, and COVID-19 procedures all on your own. Good times. But as for attendance, I will just say that in an online class like this, the way we take attendance is I'm looking to see, have you completed the activities for this week? And if you've done all of them, then you have been counted present for everything for that entire week. But if you only did half of them, then I'm only going to count you present for half the week. So that's kind of the way that that works. And I've set up a wonderful, wonderful tool called Weekly Checklist that you need to take advantage of and use faithfully. It is so helpful. So if you go to Content and look at the left-hand sidebar all the way at the bottom, you'll see Weekly Checklist. And if you click on that, there's a checklist for each and every week that lays out every single thing you're supposed to do for that week, when it's due, how to access it on the course site, etc. So be sure and make use of the weekly checklist. I've set up some helpful resources for you on our Brightspace page. I give you information in the syllabus here about online tutoring help, which will be really helpful to you for the research paper. Online research information from the library, which is helpful for that paper. And then how to navigate and sort of wade your way through our Brightspace course site. And it's a good idea to just sort of take a few minutes and peruse the site and just sort of learn the lay of the land, if you will, a little bit. There's a lot of information there. It's there to help you succeed, but it can feel overwhelming at first, especially if you've never taken an asynchronous online class before. So you want to follow the exact directions on the weekly checklist. That's the most important thing to do. Look for course documents and readings within the content section. Post major papers and drafts and idea worksheets under the assignments tab up at the top of the page. Take quizzes through the quizzes tab up at the top. Email your classmates if you want through the class list tab, and post to the discussion boards through the discussions tab, also at the top of the page. And so you'll find all kinds of helpful links as well on our course page. Under general information about resources for students, you'll find help with technology, help with Brightspace, a tutorial there, campus resources, free literature. You'll find grammar exercises and grammar support. So if you submit a rough draft of the research paper and I come back and say, wow, you're making a lot of fragment errors or comma splice errors, go to the grammar practices or exercises to help you, again, found in content. Click on it and do some exercises to help you with fragments or comma splices or whatever it is that I've pointed out. Under library information, you'll find some great help with MLA, a library tutorial. You'll find an English 1010 library guide that's also helpful in this class. And under the MLA section, again, you'll find a guide, a paper template, and other important materials. In the discussions tab, if you scroll all the way to the bottom, there are two discussion forums, the American Lit Cafe and the Teacher's Room. They're not graded. I do monitor them. I set up some netiquette rules for you to follow there. But the cafe is a place where you can talk to each other. You can get help from classmates. You can ask each other questions there, get to know each other. And the Teacher's Room is a place where you can ask me for help. Now, be sure and check the facts, the frequently asked questions section under content, and your syllabus, obviously, your weekly checklist. But if you still have questions, email me or ask me in the Teacher's Room. I've given you 10 important rules for success in the class, so wake up, because this is important, folks. There are no dumb questions. Rule number 1, no dumb questions. In fact, smart people ask questions. So if you have a question, let me know, and I will do my best to answer it. Know that I am a professor who loves to interact with my students, and I'm a real people person, so I want to get to know you as an individual. This online thing isn't really my thing, but actually that's good for you, because it means that I want very much to get to know you as an individual and to answer your questions and to truly help you whenever and however I can. So if you have specific needs or concerns or questions, let me know. Rule number 2, read the announcements. I'll post them at least once a week. I'll email them to you. Read them. They're the only way that I have to let you know important things that are coming up in the class. Check off the task as you complete them in the weekly checklist section. Very important to your success. Rule 3, show up virtually, that is. So again, I can see what you're doing, how long you're taking to do it, etc. Where in the course you're going, which activities you completed. And that counts for that participation grade. It also determines whether you've been counted as present or absent. And so if you're having difficulties in submitting things due to sickness, due to some emergency, due to losing your internet, try to let me know. And if you can't email me, call the main campus number at Straw Plains and leave a message for me there, and they'll get it to me. Rule 4, have RESPECT. Aretha Franklin sang about it. If you didn't hear her, go Google her after this. She's awesome. So you know the drill. It's common sense. Have respect for yourself, for your classmates, and for me, and we'll all get along just famously. If a comment would be considered inappropriate in the classroom, it's inappropriate online as well. Rule 5, do not plagiarize. Everything you write is run through the Turnitin system. Don't plagiarize. It is not worth it. It is not worth it. Number 6, submit your assignments on time. So, weekly work that's submitted after the deadline may not be accepted. It can result in a 0 for that assignment. With a research paper, I don't accept papers after 5 days, and I dock 10 points from that paper for every calendar day that it's late, including its due date and weekends. Rule 7, watch the videos I post, because I'll give you little tips. These musings are going to provide tips that are going to help you do better on the quizzes and on the exams. Rule 8, work hard. Anything in your life worth having requires good, honest, old-fashioned work, and this is no exception. Rule 9, if I mess up, tell me, and I probably will, because I'm 100% human. So if you see that there's some technological error that I've made that's creating an issue, if I've made a typo, if I've got a date that's not making sense, email me and let me know, and I promise you I will go the extra mile to correct the problem right away. Sometimes it's my fault, sometimes it's the fault of the system, but I will do my best to work with you and to not blame you for it, but to fix the problem. And then, number 10, again, if you want to get to know your classmates better, talk amongst yourselves on the American Lit Cafe. And finally, know that I'm here for you. We're in the midst of a very challenging, difficult time, unprecedented in our history, a global pandemic. And while I'm going to maintain a strong sense of academic rigor, I'm going to expect that you will work. I will also go the extra mile to work with you, to be kind and generous and compassionate to each one of you in all of my interactions with you, and to help you as much as I can at every step along the way. So please also do your part to ensure your success as well, because everything you do in a college course, you do for you, for your future, your career, your family, right? You're doing it for you. And finally, just don't be nervous. You got this. And don't be like the person who created that cute little kitty cat picture there and forget the apostrophe, and don't, because that's not good. So next you see the actual schedule for our syllabus here, and you can see what else is going to be required of you for this first week. In my part 2 video, I'll be talking about that Let's Get Real, defining and understanding realism in American Lit reading that I want you to do, that's up under course documents. And in the discussion boards, you have 2 topics this week: getting to know you, and are you a romantic, a realist, or a naturalist? And that's going to be a really cool one. So the first topic, getting to know you, is the one where you want to respond to at least one classmate. So thanks for being patient with me. Welcome again to the class. I'm so happy to have you here. And I'll see you in part 2.